7.5 million children we're talking about who are now fleeing from the impact and the access to clean water, sanitation, their mental health, even closed schools, all of these things impacting them every day. Joining me now for more on this, UNICEF spokesperson James Elder, who is near the border of Poland and Ukraine. James, as we watch this war escalate, what is your biggest concern right now as you interact with these kids, especially those who have fled their homes and lost everything?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is still seeing your images there, seeing what happened in Mariupol, just to know that we're now seeing indiscriminate attacks hitting more civilian targets. Women, this should be their greatest moment, no, having a baby for the first time, becoming a mother, and they're being bombed while they're doing it. So that scale of children being killed remains, of course, our greatest concern. Side by side, a million children who've been ripped away from one member of their family, who watching traumatized mums who are freezing, as you say, it's bitterly cold here, who have left behind, you know, the school, the friends, and have come to learn what bombs sound like. The trauma of those children, the need for them to get education, is an immense concern to UNICEF right now.
And so many of these children, as we've been looking at the pictures, were only able to bring a few belongings with them. And on top of that, they have no idea, James, when they'll be able to return home. So how are you trying to encourage them right now? What are those conversations like?
Yeah, you know, and every person wants to come home. I've spoken to hundreds of people. I spend days at that train station in Lviv in Ukraine or the border, and every single person, this is their home. The brain drain from this nation is heartbreaking. But I spoke to a little girl the other day, and I said, "Do you know where you're going?" And she said, "No, I don't know the name of it. Is it in English?" "No, I don't know the name, and I also don't know the name of my village, but I love my village and I want to go back there." So these are just kids, but right now they can't because their parents have had to make a decision that is mind-boggling to most of us, that do I leave my husband and our child's father, and do we leave? And they've just decided a million times that, yes, the only way to keep our child safe, to ensure that we are not one of those children in a playground or a school that gets hit by these attacks, the only way we can guarantee our child is alive next week is to leave. And that requires an immense amount of support, which we are doing our best to get to, from medical supplies to education supplies. It also, as you know in your correspondence, say, it requires that humanitarian corridor to be respected so people can get out without being shelled and we can get in.
As a country, how can we help these Ukrainian kids right now, James?
Well, I think this is what Americans do, you know, giving. I would love to say there was something else and it wasn't can you put your hand in your pocket? I really would, but the medical supplies that we brought in, and the medical supplies we'll bring in again tomorrow, and they go to hospitals and surgeons who are working in bunkers and delivering babies, or the children I've seen with wounds of war who come across. Those medical supplies, for example, they cost money. UNICEF, we're entirely donor funded. So any mums or dads who could do that, you know, to unicefusa.org, that makes an immense difference. That gets supplies onto that truck and then to those kids that I've been seeing.
James Elder, thank you, and thank you for all the work that you do just again and again. And we will continue to tell everybody who asks how they can help. This is how you do it. UNICEF is working in Ukraine and throughout the region to provide urgent and aid and assistance to children and families. You can learn more, as James mentioned, unicefusa.org/ABC.